Right, to Ukraine now. 4 weeks ago, most New Zealanders had never heard of the port city of Mariupol. Now, sustained Russian bombing has almost completely destroyed it.
Watching from this side of the world is Yulia B. Ilan. Mariupol is her hometown. Her parents still live there. She hasn't heard from her father, though, and her mother has just managed to escape.
Yulia spoke to us because she wants the world to follow Ukraine's example and stand up to Russia. I asked her what it's like waking up every morning waiting for news.
It's quite stressful, and the first thing I do in the morning is to reach out for my phone and hope for good news. But unfortunately, it's just getting worse and worse. And basically, this is not how you want to start your day, knowing that someone you know possibly died or have died already. So it's quite, yeah, it's like a vicious circle. You can't get out of this trap. It's like a nightmare.
The pictures are incredibly confronting of the centre of Mariupol, aren't they?
Yes. It doesn't look like Mariupol anymore, at least not like I remember it. Mariupol is a beautiful city. It's a port city. It's an industrial city. And, you know, it wasn't perfect, but it was very special, and it was mine. It's a city where I grew up, where I was born. So, yeah, it's definitely very sad that it's no longer there anymore.
And you say they had just started to beautify, to gentrify Mariupol.
Yes, so in the past 5 years, they started making it look better. They tried to make Mariupol look like it's a European city. A lot of parks, a lot of playgrounds for kids. It looked so much different from what I even remember it.
Your parents live there. They're not together, but have you heard from them? Have you heard from your father?
Last time I spoke to him was the 1st of March, and since then, no, I haven't heard from him. My mom, though, she, if I can say that, she got lucky to escape from the city, and she's on her way to Poland right now.
Your mum, how did she manage to get out of there? Because the humanitarian corridors kept closing because of the bombing.
When the war started, first she decided to stay home, but then she was invited by one of her friends to come and join them and just stay with them in their house. And she decided that she felt like she should go, so she took money, and basically that's all she took with her, and she ran to their house and she stayed with them. They didn't have a private car, but somehow they found some car somewhere that wasn't even working, so they had to start the car, they had to find gas, and they didn't even have the keys to start the car. So it's quite unbelievable, but it's a miracle.
And what about your father? What are your fears for him?
Well, reading the news, I have less hopes every day, but you know, I'm following lots of chats online where I'm looking for his building, like the building where he lives, and I'm just hoping that it stays like whole, not damaged. Yeah, so that's the biggest fear, and obviously I hope that he has something to eat or drink. Yeah, and it's also cold in Ukraine because it's winter, spring. So it's been like -5, -10 one night. Imagine having no heating, no water for around a month now. It's a catastrophe, really.
In your words, how would you describe what's happening to your country?
I believe that it's a genocide of Ukrainian people, because the way Russian military acts is not by the rules of war. They bombing maternity hospitals, they bombing shelters with civilians. If you know, there was a theater that was bombed, and there was a sign written, "Children," and they still dropped a massive bomb on the theatre. So I believe that, yes, this is a genocide and very unfair on those civilians, young mothers, unborn children, newborn children. It's a catastrophe.
What do you think of the world's response?
I think no one, Ukrainians didn't expect this war to unfold so fast.
Is the world doing enough?
I wish the world acted faster and maybe there were more lives saved by now. But sanctions are obviously working, but people are dying. How can you compare a sanction? I think I would want NATO to get involved and at least protect the sky, like a lot of civilians were asking, even in Mariupol, because Mariupol were bombed 100 times one day. 100 bombs were dropped, and it was like every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes. And if we had the sky closed, we could prevent a lot of deaths, I believe.
Do you still have friends back in Mariupol?
Yes, a lot of them are still there. A lot of parents of my friends that I went to school with, their parents are still there, elderly grandparents.
Your mother, though, it's good news. She's in Western Ukraine, isn't she?
Yes. On the 24th of March, she celebrated her 68th birthday. And the message that I got from her, she said, war is war, but you should always celebrate birthdays. And yes, that just shows you how strong the spirit of Ukrainians. And a lot of the times, even when I contacted my friends, I would tell them, how are you? Are you all right? I'm so worried. I can't sleep. But it would be them who would say, don't worry, we are fine. We have food. We will be all right. So Ukrainians are a very strong nation, and I'm very proud of them.
Well, Yulia has just heard from her mother, Victoria, overnight. She has made it safely into Poland, and now they're hoping to fly her to Canada, where Yulia's sister lives, as that visa is apparently quicker to get than the 3 weeks it could take in New Zealand.